How's it going, everybody? JT here for this July 4th holiday special. Technically, it's July 3rd, but it is a Friday, and we do like to try to keep our shows on Fridays if possible. This is episode 151 of the Doots podcast, and if you're watching us on Twitch or X, if you give us a like, follow, any of that good stuff would be awesome. We're also broadcasting, I believe, on YouTube and LinkedIn, possibly. So anyway, no guest today, and we've actually taken a little bit of time off as a team, as traveling around. People are, visiting families, and I will be doing that tomorrow, and trying not to lose all of my fingers. I've got about $1,000 worth of fireworks in the back of the family van, and but I'm old now, see, so I don't lose fingers anymore, just when I was a kid. They reattached them, everything's good, the recovery was good, so there's that. It looks like 12 Meatballs, Ben Broad's in the audience on Discord. If you want to find our channels, head to dailydoots.com. You can find our Discord channel. You can hop in on the live aspects of the show there. As I said, no guests today, just a little catch-up. United States people, salute to you. 250 years in the making, and we're only getting better, despite what the news might lead you to believe. I think that, I don't know. I think it's a great place to live, especially if you have money. If you don't have money, it's not the worst place either. So there you go. Celebrating freedoms and all the freedom of speech stuff that we get. And yeah, it's good. And if we want to run a podcast and talk all about crypto, we can do that too. And anyway, I don't know how many three-letter agencies and lists I'm on, but hopefully none. Well, Hani Abu is our website designer. He has a cold. He was celebrating a little too hard at a 4-year-old's birthday and got the common cold, and he is knocked out. But that's not going to stop us. I've got the old school rich list. I don't know if you guys even understand how I do all this stuff, but anybody that makes a comment on like the daily general discussion that makes it into Tricky Troll's like list at the top of the discussion, they are awarded a point. And then over the course of time, they end up on this rich list of all these other people that have earned points, which today I think we're probably, I would have to guess, closing in. Let's see, this is 14 pages of probably 100. So yeah, we're getting close to 1,400 people on the list. And normally I read out the rich list at dailydoots.com. Has not been updated. These are the real totals. This is how the sausage is made using Reddit Enhancement Suite. And just because I don't have the numbers up, I'm going to start all the way down here. Anybody that's got more than 100, I'm going to read your name out. PA7X1 at 105, Rhythm of ETH at 109. Tied at 109 is Set One Less, 696 ETH at 112, Alexis Kef at 116, Aiden Cairo at 118, Ethical Trade at 121, the A-Word at 123, Crypto Out Currency, and Hani Abu tied at 141. Tricky Troll at 180, Benito 2030 at 185, Super Fizz at 250, LogrisTheBard at 262, and sitting on the top, and has been for a long time, is our number one contributor to the R Ethereum daily general discussion, Harog. So if you want to learn about Ethereum, you want to find a better place than X to have a real conversation and get some camaraderie going, join these people and the rest of the people at R Ethereum and come hang out with us. It's a good place to be. All right. Well, and then what we do is we're going to take a look at the, looks like we've got the trifecta here. Let's see. I thought I had this opened up. Let me go all the way back. Oh, this was the crab. Yeah. This was the crab sideways action guy. All right, we'll skip that. Oh, these are new Reddit. Oh, this is going to mess me up. Not too bad. Okay, the Trinity. Here we go. Ethereum by Hitman616, relative newcomer. M4G Lock, G-E-L-O-C-K, chimes in a price of $17.16. And Alexis Kef at 0278. All right, still under that almighty 03. All right, JS Tears with our haiku of the week. Blocks you can't sever, Ethereum forever, losing faith, never. That's right. That's the daily haiku until or at least 0.178 on the ETH BTC ratio or the highest market. Alexis Kef is JS Tears is our haiku expert. All hail the eternal crab iter ad astra, giving us a little graphical nod here. When he posted it, we were at $1,564, but we have shifted ever so lovingly to the right. But we got to get past that 5,000 mark again, and we will. Speaking of which, this is kind of funny. I had a guy reach out to me. He knows that I had been involved in crypto from years ago. He reached out. He's like, "Are you still doing that thing?" And I'm like, "It's still doing me, son." You know, like it's doing me at this point now. So yeah, we're hanging in there. But he was asking. Well, which one do you like the most? And I said Ethereum, and I'm pretty much a maxi in that regard. I go, he's like, but his first question or his second question, which was really spot on. He was smart enough to know this. He's like, what wallet should what would you recommend? He's like, didn't you used to do something for a wallet? Because I plan on buying some, and I think I should get a hardware wallet. And I said, well, yes, of course. The Grid Plus Lattice one, designed in the USA, go USA, I guess. And yeah, it's a great device. I said, and I was joking with him, I go, but it's not going to hold your Ripple or your XRP. And he kind of chuckled and he laughed. He's like, oh my gosh, I have a friend that's trying. He's all about it. He was all in. And I'm like, I know I shouldn't be all in Ethereum, but there's just a clear difference. Anyway, I won't get into all that debate. But I said it will hold your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, and your Solana if you dare. So anyway, maybe, he's at least approaching this right out of the gate with the right mindset. So. Yeah, very cool. All right, back to the real stuff at hand. I guess where I was going with that is like the conversation is happening again. It just feels like I have not talked about it with any normies for a long time, and it was just great to hear that somebody's at least thinking about it, right? Because it feels like all of retail was gone. And he's like, no, I keep hearing stuff about it, and something with the Clarity Act, I'm like, I don't know if that thing's going to get passed either, but that would be a big boom, I would hope, for institutions. And anyway, I'll leave it at that. Good. AB Kothep has ethereal news this week. Is the 30th issue, Ethereum Basics for Governments and Institutions, Ethereum Institutional Launch, and the Robinhood chain is live. The Robinhood chain being live, I saw that on Twitter. I'm not sure exactly what that is this. I guess what I saw on Twitter was regarding agents. Okay, so it's Arbitrum based. Robinhood accelerates global expansion with Robinhood chain mainnet stock tokens. There it is, agentic trading, and a new suite of DeFi products. Here we go. All right, DeFi on Arbitrum, I guess. We're officially launching the public mainnet of Robinhood chain built using the Arbitrum platform to institutional standards and natively connected to Robinhood's on-chain users. This layer 2 blockchain provides a turnkey environment for builders. The Robinhood chain ecosystem is actively growing with day one partners including Uniswap. Ooh. Okay, which is deploying a dedicated AMM to serve as a primary public liquidity protocol, and Pleiades, which is deploying a proprietary AMM to serve as a primary prop trading venue. Oh, Mr. Professor, what is the layman's name for Pleiades? Okay, so Pleiades is a constellation. Does anybody know in the audience what the Pleiades is also referred to as? I'll give you it's the Seven Sisters. That is the Seven Sisters, the star constellation. Oh, wow. A wild super fizz has appeared in the chat. What is up, my dog? Good to see you, man. You raise that little hand of yours, super fizz, if you want to jump on this stage, because I will. Oh, jeez. Here we go. Come on. Is he coming? I got you, man. I said invite to speak. He's on stage, ladies and gentlemen. The great and powerful Super Fizz. How's it going, dude?
It's going good. I'm not really here. I just saw the invitation and wanted to say hello. I always miss you.
I always miss you too. I'm glad you're here. And if you need to, if you just want to listen a little bit, I'm just reading Reddit, so you don't have to. I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
No, it's great to see you. I'll pop off, but hello, and let's get together more often.
Absolutely, brother. Good to hear from you. Super Fizz, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the legend himself. Excellent, man. Good to see you. Always. Okay. Well, there you go. I guess where I was going with this whole thing was A.B. Kothup's Ethereal News Weekly number 30 is available at ethereal.news. Running that beautiful publication. All right, Benito 2030 for our ship post of the week. You're known in the community, quote, you are known in the community for your paper hands. How to never be invited into a podcast for beginners. Oh my gosh. And then Alexis Kev says, what is that from? And then Harog says, the latest Bankless podcast interviewing Ansgar and Casper from ETH Labs. Here's the direct link to the snippet. Oh, do we dare?
Actually, had a question. I mentioned it a little off air already, and I'm not sure if you thought it was a joke or anything, but you're known a little in the community for your paper hands. Let me put it this way, and you're like a faith.
Paper hands.
Brutal.
I don't know if 8 years of holding counts as paper hands.
I'm just teasing you, but I actually do believe. Like, look, I
Okay, well, we'll not dunk on David here, but that's the Bankless podcast. Thanks for sharing that, Harog. There you go. Woo. That was pretty direct. I mean, it's a good question. I will say, though, he said himself, I was in for 8 years. I mean, that's about a tenth of any normal person's lifetime to be involved in something. I don't necessarily. I think paper hands is like one bull bear bust cycle and you're out. That's more paper hands than what David did. I guess the other criticism, and I'll just leave it at this, is like they've made a lot of money on the backs of development in the Ethereum ecosystem. To officially sell literally all your ETH and making it public was just kind of like, I don't know. I just wish somebody'd be a little more invested. I don't know. Whatever. It's his call. It's his money. It's his life. It's his table and food he wants to buy and be his own person. That's fine. No worries. No sweat off of me. But I can understand why some people kind of, for some reason, took it personally. Okay. Moving on. Just sharing some research. This is Gadfly Ghoulie. You know what I need to do? I need to open up. I'm going to put a new tab here so I can read the headline. The headline is what the A word puts together for me for the show. And since we didn't update the website, I'm a little lost as what the headline is. So I don't want to read these blind. I want to make sure we give the proper context to the comment before reading this out. So this is Gadfly Ghoulie shares. What did I do here? Come on, baby. Come on. What did you do? Weird. Why is it defaulting to new? Okay. Try this again. I must have clicked on something. Gadfly Ghoulie shares some research findings and calls out the entities doing timing game. Okay, so just sharing some research findings, Gadfly Ghoulie says here, Beacon Chain, the website, recently added some MEV analysis to their site. Here's how much top staking entities are playing timing games. And there's a source. Timing games to maximize the profit at the expense of network health and other validators. They list Lido as moderately, Binance near zero, Ether.fi is heavily doing timing games, as well as Coinbase and Kraken. The extreme end of this is Blockdaemon. And then another near zero is Figment. Source comment. Rather than look at median proposal time, click into each entity to see the 30-day timing distribution for a better indication of their practices. So if I open this up, I'm going to see what this link on Beacon Chain gives us here to resolve down. Oh, there it is. Okay, there's the Beacon score for all of these staking entities. Timing games. There you have it. All right, thank you, Gadfly Ghoulie. Moving on down, Numerous Ruin 4947 explains why stablecoins are bullish for Ethereum and not the competition. Stablecoins, let's go back to the original question. In the world of LLMs and stablecoins converted into KYC equals CBDC, it's getting tricky to be bullish Ethereum. Perhaps we can be some niche product for Wall Street. Is there any hopium for anyone? Numerous Ruin 4947 replies, stablecoins are not really competition to Ethereum. They are demand for Ethereum. A stablecoin does not run on magic. It needs settlement, it needs security, it needs wallets, bridges, and an ecosystem. If issuers do not want to build all of that themselves, they need chains like Ethereum. ETH also has a better tokenomics than the dollar, and Ethereum is still the premier smart contract chain with the strongest Lindy effect after Bitcoin. KYC may happen at the issuer app and front-end level, but that does not erase the need for neutral settlement rails. The hopium is that Ethereum becomes the base layer that stablecoins, RWAs, DeFi, L2s, and maybe AI agent payments all settle back to. Good. All right. I'm going to do another reply here. Mini Miner 1 replied to all that saying, do stables reduce demand to own and use ETH as collateral? That's a great question, actually. It's a very good question. Numerous Ruin continues to reply, I hold ETH as a pet rock because I'm betting it will become a store of value and outpace the dollar, which has been losing value since 1913. Why would I hold stables? I see those as useful for buying stuff. I guess I do not understand why it has to be so complicated. People hold stocks, they hold gold, collectibles, etc., because they think those assets will increase in value. Why not the same with ETH? True, its performance has been horrible over the past 5 years. It is not functioning as a proper store of value because too many people still do not see it as one. Okay, good stuff. Moving on. Nice job. Let's see. Alex Anyone Market, or user Alex Anyone Market, is building an Ethereum prediction market. Okay, let me back up. The username is Alex-Anyone Market, one word. They are building an Ethereum prediction market and ask some key questions about prediction markets and ends up getting some great responses. I'd really appreciate some honest feedback. He says, hey, our Ethereum, I'm Alex. I'm a builder working on Anyone, a prediction markets app on Base. We launched Base. We launched on mainnet yesterday, and I'd love feedback from people here while we're still early. The bigger question I'm thinking about is what roles should prediction markets actually play in crypto? A lot of prediction market products end up feeling like gambling UIs with news wrappers. I'm more interested in whether they can become useful public information infrastructure, a way for communities to price beliefs, surface disagreement, and coordinate around real-world events without relying on centralized media or opaque polling. The part we're experimenting with is making markets for anyone to create with USDC settlement on Base. Longer term, we are also interested in market creation by both humans and AI agents. The goal is to not just, quote, bet on the headlines, end quote, but letting communities spin up their own markets around questions they actually care about. I'd really like some honest feedback from Ethereum people on a few things. Number one, do prediction markets feel aligned? Do they feel aligned with Ethereum and cypherpunk values, or do they mostly feel extractive right now? What would make you trust a prediction market app enough to use it? Number three, are there market types you think Ethereum communities would actually care about? And number four, what should we avoid building if we don't want this to become just another speculation casino? And that is from Alex from Anyone Market. I'm going to open up their X handle. I'm going to give them a follow. And they got 360 followers. They have a website, anyone.market. There it is. There's your prediction market. It's running on Base. Okay. There's his UI. Looks clean enough. Looks like got some World Cup action over here. Okay, there you go. And let's see if it looks like there was quite a few. There's quite a few replies here. I mean, this was a hell of a good conversation starter, and I hope that Alex has learned something from the Mavericks and the broader R Ethereum community. Good stuff, man. Keep building. Just keep building. Okay, moving on down. Edmund Edgar brings us up to speed on why some confidence in ENS has been shaken. I had heard something on X. I'm so glad I'm doing this show so I can learn about it now. User Rhythm of ETH originally responded on Reddit. I'm sorry, I'm completely out of the loop. That's me too, bud. What happened with ENS that some alternatives are spawning now, like .gwei subdomains? Well, Edmund Edgar, fellow moderator on R Ethereum, says from memory, may be wrong, ENS was built by a company called ENS Labs. They needed some governance features like setting the renewal costs, etc. They made a DAO and airdrop tokens and gave it both control of the governance features and control of the treasury. They never said token holders were supposed to be able to make money. Like, you're not being airdropped free money, you're being airdropped responsibility. But then, why are they valuable? Hardly anyone actually votes in the DAO. ENS Labs has a small proportion of the tokens, but a large proportion of the actually voting tokens. There's a risk that someone could actually buy a bunch of tokens and raid the treasury. There's a security council that can veto DAO votes, but its term is about to expire. ENS Labs has made a proposal to move control of the treasury away from the DAO to a multi-sig controlled by them and their mates. Apparently, ENS Labs have enough of the actual voting tokens that they can basically force this through on their own. Some token holders and or DAO participants feel like they're being rugged by ENS Labs and are threatening to move to something else. Dang, well, that was a hell of a rundown. Thank you, Edmund Edgar, for that brief explanation. Very cool. Moving on down the list. Numerous Ruin 4947 making it on to the freaking podcast for the second time. Go team! Wow, that's a banger. Okay, the headline. Numerous Ruin 4947 thinks people are missing the point of crypto. Ooh, this will be saucy. I can tell already. I keep seeing people here say that crypto has no killer use case and that AI is the new use case draining liquidity from the space. But I can't stake AI. I can't send AI to someone across the world within minutes. I can send ETH, I can send BTC and other crypto globally. Crypto can also be converted to stablecoins and sold for fiat. That is a real use case. Yes, AI has tremendous use cases, no question, but there's also a lot of slop out there. The cat videos are cute, and maybe a laugh helps, but that does not mean AI replaces the crypto thesis. I think many people are missing the bigger point. Many crypto networks have strong network effects, and many crypto tokens have much lower inflation than the dollar or other fiat currencies that constantly lose value. The odds are near 100% that something you pay for in dollars today will cost you more in a few years from now or even sooner. We've all watched the cost of goods, energy, services, housing, and almost everything else rise up through the decades.
We have pizzas, we have 300 hamburgers, many French fries.
When I got into crypto almost a decade ago and metals more than 2 decades ago, my main motivation was simple. The dollar keeps losing value and is not a reliable store of value. That was the thesis. That is still the thesis. That's why it frustrates me when so many so-called crypto believers no longer see the store of value use case. Blockchains do not need accountants to balance the books. The ledger is automated. It's transparent. It's relatively secure. Yes, there's still flaws, risks, hacks, and user error issues, smart contract failures, and custody problems, but the core idea still matters. Another big problem is all the leverage in crypto that creates forced sellers. Then you also have centralized exchanges, lenders, and yield platforms that created massive counterparty risk for customers like FTX, Celsius, BlockFi, and Voyager. Terra Luna was another version of the same fragility. It was not an exchange or a lender, but an algorithmic stablecoin ecosystem. US Tether was supposed to hold $1, while UST, not Tether. UST was supposed to hold $1 while Luna absorbed the volatility. Once UST lost the peg, the whole system became reflexive. People rushed for the exits. Luna was minted into oblivion, and the collapse created another wave of forced selling and contagion across the market. So to me, the issue is not that crypto has no use case. The issue is that the space keeps burying the real use case under leverage, speculation, counterparty risk, bad design, scams, and short-term narratives. Yeah, I fully agree with this. There's so much overhead in the space of like just the grift and the scamming alone. I mean, it was true for the beginning of the internet. It's true as it ever has been. I will mention though, at the very top when you're talking about AI, this thing right here where AI is draining liquidity from the space. I think there's some truth to that. I think a lot of people, with the uncertainty of like regulation and stuff in the U.S., like crypto isn't the new thing anymore. We're big. As soon as like J.P. Morgan and BlackRock and all those guys are in, now you're just a boring asset class, right? Even though we're the most suited to like upend a lot of the banking stuff if we allow ourselves to. Believe in it and actually use it and force their hand. But anyway, I digress. But there was a lot of the data farm investments coming through, but a lot of those are not going to happen. There's a lot of communities that just don't want that shit in their neighborhood anymore. And so it remains to be seen. The other elephant in the room was the SpaceX IPO. That really was a phenomenal IPO that drained from all kinds of different sectors. I mean, the world's never seen anything like it before. To that scale. And I'm happy to be corrected if I'm wrong on that. But that's just kind of my little take on the reasons why. But I'm telling you, man, you can only get kicked so many times before the kicking causes the price to fall. Not to mention the absolute incredible talents of people that can spread FUD on Ethereum. It's always been there. When you're the largest target, you're going to get the most shit online. And then you get any amount of price dipping down, then the doubling down on the FUD, and then the tripling down on the I mean, I remember weed stocks were a big deal there for a while, and that kind of curbed some enthusiasm on crypto. Look at the weed companies now. I mean, are they still doing a hockey stick? I don't think so, right? Like, there you go. That's just all I'm going to say about that. I think overall, though, is right. A lot of this is so good. It's really well written and good thought stuff. And I think it's sobering to read it. Need to listen to it. How Chisel. Oh, yeah. This guy's a pretty cool YouTuber. Relative newcomer to our Ethereum. And he drops videos here. He says, How Chisel has made a great educational video on a cool new use case that Vitalik highlighted. Okay. Vitalik name dropped the Interfold. Well, what the heck is this? I attempted a short explainer on the Interfold and why there's buzz around it lately. There's a whole lot of jargon around cipher nodes, E3s, confidential coordination, and multiplayer privacy. I think it boils down to using math, SIC cryptography, and networks to create a new primitive for conducting privacy-preserving computations like votes, auctions, and data sharing. Check it out here. This guy's YouTube channel is wonderful.
Vitalik name drops something, unless it's a meme or something of real substance. In this case, he tweeted about a project called the Interfold, and it's a real attempt at solving one of crypto's hardest open problems. Let us dive in. Consider an on-chain vote. Voter choices end up very public, and they stay on-chain forever. Or an auction. Your bid tells every other bidder what the price to beat is. And this increased visibility leads to a whole slew of problems, including bribery, coercion, and in the worst cases, harm. Coordination on the blockchain was supposed to evolve our institutions. It didn't. So back to square one. The real question becomes, can we use math and networks to count the votes, declare the winner, and prove the results without showing who put what in?
There's a really good
such a good editing style.
Democracy.
So I'm gonna pause this here because I want you guys to continue watching his video. His YouTube channel is Tim Ho. Let's see if he's got it's 90 seconds to crypto, at 90 seconds to crypto. Get in there and check him out. He has a really great storytelling capability, and he's done a lot of good general information videos in the crypto space. And I guess he's the editor. I don't know if he's hiring an editor, but the editing is wonderful. So Tim Ho, shout out, and thanks for posting at our Ethereum. We really love having you around. You bring a lot to the sub. Okay, it looks like Harog gave you a shout out too. Great video. Haven't heard the Interfold before, and thanks to your video, I have a pretty good idea of what it is and what it does. Definitely an interesting topic. Thanks for creating the video. How Chisel is he's getting some love here, and Harog is the #1 duder on our Doots list. So continue to follow How Chisel on Reddit and 90 Seconds Crypto on the YouTube. Great find, by the way, A-Word. Thanks for posting his content. I really enjoy it. Poit H XYZ. This is a user from Proof or It Didn't Happen case. His website is really fun. We had him on as a guest a few weeks ago. I have to get him back on for an update. He's become a regular contributor in our sub. It's really nice to have him here. So Poit H XYZ makes the case for Ethereum's major advantage in the age of AI. Okay. In the age of AI, quote, the value of software compresses to zero. That leaves distribution and access to real humans as the prime value driver, but also that becomes next to impossible to achieve as the internet turns into a weaponized slot factory. What actually remains is trust. What apps and services do I trust with my money, my data, and my time with? All right. In my opinion, Poid goes on, underrated aspect of Ethereum pursuing the Crops path rather than the BD maximalism of other chains is that Crops sacrifices Flash for trust guarantees. It's not obvious short term, but it will pay off long term. I'm going to open up this X handle here. That was from Nick Allman, Dr. Nick A. Let's give him a follow. Good. PhD in physics. All right. There it is. Oh, it's in reference to Claude. Very cool. Good stuff. Thank you, Poit, for bringing this out. All right, moving on down. Hani Abu, our very own Doots podcast website developer, covers the EF's push for government awareness of tech as well as institutional awareness as well. Hey, Dennis, welcome in on the Discord, bud. Thanks for hanging out today. All right, Hani Abu, looks like the Ethereum Foundation has the status, and I'm going to open up that status. I'm going to give it a like and a retweet. Today, the Global Privacy Strategy GPS team is publishing Ethereum Basics for Governments and Institutions. There we go. A non-technical primer to equip the leaders making policy and deployment decisions with an understanding of how Ethereum works, how it's governed, and how it compares with perceived alternatives. And this is a rather lengthy tweet. You should go check that out on X. You can also find that on the daily at our Ethereum. All right, so there is a whole thread. Looks like they have an entire PDF here as well. Oh, cool. This is the summary. This is the whole kit and caboodle. There you go. There's your weekend reading. Unless you're in the United States blowing off your fingertips and removing your eyebrows with bottle rockets, you should probably read this. So it looks like this is it's a huge document, executive summary and everything about the role of Ethereum and how to help educate institutions and governments on the why. Okay. Thank you, Hani Abu. Great stuff. Tricky Troll says this is so needed. Yes, great to see. Definitely, for sure. Confused Guy 1212 says, I can't believe I'm seeing this from the EF. Oh, my God. Oh, boy. Yeah, sometimes I wish some of that stuff would have came out a long time ago. But I didn't build it. I don't know how to build shit. I just know how to read Reddit, so you don't have to. All right, Dr. Lambo McMoontard, one of my favorite usernames in the space, checks in as a member of the class of 2017. I definitely remember. All right, Doorstopwood originally said, any fellow class members from 16, 17, or 18 still here? How are you holding up? Dr. Lambo McMoontard says, I'm a 2017 guy. It's been tough at times, to say the least. However, I haven't sold a single ETH, and a big reason for that is I was an early adopter with a low-cost basis. Even through the darkest crypto winters, my ETH position outperformed the S&P 500, so staying in the green has made holding much easier psychologically. On top of that, my 401k, index funds, and cash positions are enough to put me on track for a comfortable, albeit relatively modest retirement, even if ETH goes to zero. I still need to wage grind for a while, though. Gosh, these people with jobs, I wish I had one. All of that has allowed me to hodl for nearly 9 years. I'll admit I was wrong about the rate of price appreciation, especially from 17 to 21. Looking back, I think I was mostly wrong about the timeline rather than the fundamentals, which I believe remain strong. Given ETH's speculative nature, I knew my strategy would have to remain flexible, and I stayed diversified enough that I can extend my horizon to 2030. Bears might call that moving the goalpost. I call it prudent risk management. If I'm ultimately wrong, that will suck, but I will still be okay. As for adoption, I'm weary of narratives, but cautiously optimistic. What excites me most is the advocacy that's emerged over the past year. Ethereum's 3 biggest advocacy initiatives are all relatively new. Sharplink pivoted in May 2025, Bitmine emerged in June 2025, and Etherealize launched in September 2025. We're only about a year into this new phase of Ethereum advocacy, and the progress they've made has already exceeded my wildest dreams from 2018. Plus, new organizations and initiatives seem to be launching almost every week. So, I'm still hodling, grinding, and looking forward to 2030. And that was Dr. Lambo McMoontard checking in from the class of 2017. Well, friends, I appreciate everybody tuning in today. Hope you've enjoyed the show. We'll get this podcast published. Make sure you subscribe to us at dailydoots.com. We do publish this podcast across a variety of channels. And if you're already here, give us a like. Appreciate you spreading the word. It's a nice place to hang out. And we enjoy having you here. And come stop by the Daily Journal discussion. Maybe you too could jump on that Doots list someday. On behalf of the EV Mavericks DAO, the Daily Journal discussion at our Ethereum, my name is JT. Cheers and big hugs from Kansas City.